Good evening, people. Welcome back to Cruising on Crypto. I am Craig. So if you're looking for a YouTube channel that talks about cryptocurrencies, well, there's a lot of them out there. But if you want a YouTube channel that talks about how to make passive income while you hold your favorite cryptocurrency through staking, yield farming, and getting into some of these exciting Ohm forks, these DeFi 2.0 as they call it, then this is the channel for you. And tonight we're going to be talking again about Templar DAO and some of the new changes that have come since the last time I've done a video about this. As you can see from the thumbnail, they are going to become a DeFi hedge fund with the massive treasury they're building by offering mind-blowing returns like 322 million% APY. And you're thinking to yourself, Craig, can they afford to be paying out 322 million% APY? No, they can't. This is not sustainable. We all know that, but they have some exciting changes, and sometimes they juice the APY like this to get a lot more treasury in. Consider it kind of like marketing. And then once they get a treasury big enough, they obviously have to dial down the daily payout, which a tiny dial down in the daily payout means a huge difference to your APY. It is kind of mind-blowing, the exponential power of compound interest. So yes, we'll get into that all in this episode. And in full disclosure, I did an episode 2 or 3 ago, and the developers of Templar DAO liked it. They reached out to me and asked if I would do another video to talk about these exciting changes, and therefore you can consider this entire video a sponsored video, but it doesn't change the fact that I have my own money in Templar DAO, like I showed you last episode, and I put my money where my mouth is. I think this is a great project. You're going to see a chart too of the price that's very bullish in what has otherwise been a very bearish time to be in any sort of DeFi or high risk play. So that's also very intriguing, very bullish, and I'm glad I'm an investor. So let's get on to it. You've seen my face long enough. You know what we're about to talk about. Let's get over to the Templar DAO website. Okay, here we are on the website of Templar DAO. You can see actually it's changed from 322 million to 319 million. So by the time you watch this, who knows what that APY is going to be. It does fluctuate quite a bit, as I mentioned before. Even the slightest 0.001 of APR, which is your daily interest, will massively affect your APY. So that thing keeps recalculating constantly based on the price of the coin and the daily rate of return. So another thing I should always mention is do your own research. This is not financial advice. Just because I'm telling you I've invested in this and then I'm bullish with this does not mean you should buy this. This is definitely on the high risk scale of risk return. This is the high risk, high return category of your crypto investments. Don't put your kids' college fund in this stuff. Don't put your rent money in this stuff, because at any moment, these things can drop significantly in price. That's the whole volatility and risk involved. So I don't want anybody to cry later that they lost a bunch of money. Again, you have to do your own research. Go on their Medium pages, go on their Twitter, go on their Discord, read all about what they're doing, what their plans are for the future, that roadmap. And then if you feel bullish and you have free money that you can afford to risk, then maybe get into something like this. But again, not financial advice. This is all edutainment, as they call it. So as you can see, this is the main Templar DAO website. Now, one thing we want to talk about that has gotten, I think, so much attention and so much interest in buying Templar DAO, and let's just for fun show you the chart of Templar DAO. And as you can see, that is pretty damn good, considering the stock market, or the crypto market is kind of just been going down. Not too good lately. I'll show you a couple of the ones that I've done things for before that have not done so well. I'm hoping Spartacus gets their act together, because this is a travesty. So not all of these rebase projects are going up. So the fact that Templar DAO is going up in a pretty much terrible DeFi market right now is very bullish, because they're fighting the trend here. Almost all the other DeFi plays are going down in the last, let's say, 4 to 5 days. So why is there so much interest? Well, the main reason I can think of, and again, this is just my figuring out why everybody loves it so much, is mostly because of this top investment here. They are taking their treasury and trying to invest it in the most appropriate way possible. As we talked about, they want to be a hedge fund, which means they're going to take this treasury and they're going to put it into things that are the best of the best. What they believe is the best of the best, areas where they can get crazy rates of return themselves, this is an APY of 81,000%, is things like Wonderland. It's probably the second oldest Ohm. There was Olympus DAO down here that was the granddaddy, the original. And then Daniel Siesta, if I'm saying that right, he is the well-known founder of Wonderland, and he started tokenizing this term called Frog Nation. If you haven't heard of that, you're going to read a lot about it if you go anywhere near the time Wonderland Ohm fork, because he tokenized that name of the people that are believers in Wonderland as the Frog Nation. And because of that, it's kind of like a cult following there. And when Templar DAO decided they were going to take, they've committed to $1 million of their treasury going into Wonderland. As you can see right here, they are at $215,000 right now. Again, keep in mind that Templar DAO is really new. Their overall treasury balance is only $1.917 million. That is very, very small. They've only been around, I believe, since the end of November. So we're talking 3 weeks maybe. So this is very, very new, but they've been growing in leaps and bounds. And one of the things that they decided to do is to partner up with Wonderland. And you're going to see that in a number of ways. Not only are they going to keep increasing the total value of their investment in Wonderland, but if you go over to their bond area, you're going to see that some of the bonds you can buy are actually Wonderland currency. MIM is Magic Internet Money, which is what Wonderland created. And they are allowing you to buy bonds in Templar DAO by using Wonderland's currency. In fact, there's not only the MIM on its own, there's also right here you see TEM MIM, which is a liquidity pool token where you've got 50% of your money in the Templar token and 50% money in the MIM token. You marry those up together, you create a liquidity pool token, and from that there will be interest earned for the treasury of Templar DAO. They've also got MIM BUSD, which is Binance's stable coin. So as you can see, there's a strong tie-in here, a partnership with Wonderland. And because Wonderland has such amazing potential and such a strong cult-like following, I think this was a master move by Templar DAO to do that. So I don't want to go too much into this because we talked about this. Go back and watch my episode from 2 ago where I go into detail about how you invest in Templar DAO if you want to. Very, very short. You can buy bonds where you get this level of discount for buying Templar DAO. If we go to the main page, you're going to see the price of Templar DAO is presently $8.99. Let's just check if that matches with the the chart. Yes, $8.95 it says there, so it's pretty close to up to date. There's a backed price, which you go, okay, what is this price versus the backed price? The backed price is really just the treasury value of all the investments divided by the circulating supply. Pretty simple calculation. That tells you what it should be backed by. But keep in mind, some of that treasury is in things that will potentially drop if we have a bad market. You know, Wonderland is not impervious to falling. Ohm is not impervious to falling and whatnot. So there is kind of another level that most of these DAOs never show you, which is their risk-free backed level, which is just if you take the value of the stable coins, maybe factor in 75% of the value of the non-stable coins, and you can kind of come up with an even lower truly backed number. So just keep that in mind because there are some DAOs out there that trade at or even below their quoted backed price. Anyways, we won't get into those, but we are nowhere close to that right here because this has been a very well-run and bullish cryptocurrency to get into. An Ohm fork that is doing better than most every other Ohm fork out there right now. So you can buy a bond. The price of the TEM right now is $8.90. But you can buy a bond, which gives you a discount. The highest discount you're going to get is if you get into the MIM BUSD right now, you're getting almost a 21% discount. So you can buy the TEM coin at $736. And when you do buy that, it will show up here above the list of potential ones as your bond. And over 5 days, you will get a little bit of TEM coins released to you. And the general rule, and again, go back and watch that other video, is get in here just before this clock hits 0. That's the rebase period. When that hits 0, it takes a snapshot of how many coins you have. And as you can see right now, I have 31.736 TEM coins staked. And once you stake it, this is where it gets a little confusing for some people. You put in TEM, and when you stake it, it's listed here as SWORD. Think of SWORD as being wrapped TEM. That's it. They just changed the name from WTEM to SWORD. It's a nomenclature thing. It shouldn't confuse you. If you unstake it, if you click this button and unstake it, your SWORD will turn back into TEM. A lot of other DeFi, they go the name of their coin And then the wrapped version is called W, the name of their coin. So it's a little bit easier to get your mind wrapped around. But Sword should not confuse you. If you have Sword in your wallet, you cannot go to PancakeSwap or anything and try and trade it for another coin, because it isn't a tradable coin, because it is really just a wrapped version of TEM. So hopefully that makes sense to you. Once you get your bond slowly releasing some of the TEM to you, you come over here just before this clock hits 0, maybe 5-10 minutes before, set your alarm on your phone, and then you stake it. So it'll show up here as how much TEM you have available. You hit stake, and then it moves down here to the second line. This is your staked. Right now, as you see, I got 31.74. In 1 hour and 50 minutes, I am going to get another 0.4371 Sword or TEM, and that works out to be about 1.3771% every 8 hours. So if you want to know what you're making in a day, take this number, pretty much multiply by 3, and they've already done the math for you. If you reinvest like you should, over 5 days, your rate of return for staking is 22.7727%, which is clearly, for anybody who's coming from the fiat world, the brick and mortar bank system where you're getting lucky to get 1%, clearly getting 22.7721% is mind-blowing, especially since that's for 5 days, not for a whole year. So these areas are very exciting. Now, clearly, this 319% is all based on what they're paying you per rebase period. You multiply that by 3, then multiply by 365 days, plus you compound interest after every 8 hours, and that's how you get these crazy, like 319 million % APY. Again, your treasury isn't growing as fast as that, so they cannot continue to do this into perpetuity. Otherwise, we would all be billionaires. And if you ever want to see what kind of mind-blowing numbers it is, there you go. This is actually pre-filled in how many TEM I have right now. It's saying the price right now. Oh, some of these used to give you some crazy like 10x number for what it's worth in the future. And then of course it really blows your mind. But they've actually been very conservative here. They're saying the price of TEM doesn't change. So you've got, it defaults to 5 days. Let's go out a month. In a month, my initial investment, which is $28,000, would be worth $96,000 in 1 month. Again, we're talking exponential power of compound interest. Let's bring it out to 6 months just to really blow your mind. And in 6 months, my $28,000 is worth $47 million in 6 months. Now, this is why I say you can't really expect that APY of 3 million %. Let's bring this down to, 100,000%. That's above Wonderland, which I hope they'll be able to do. 100,000%. Yes, there we go. Still, 100,000% goes from $28,000 to $868,000 in 6 months. And that's average over 6 months. So clearly, when you're starting at 3.3 million or what is it, 33, whatever, many millions, and you're averaging it over a 6 month period at 100,000, that means this thing would have to drop well below 100,000 to average out to 100,000. If you really want to blow your mind, take it out to the entire year. And I have $28 million from an investment of $28,000 in 1 year. Again, you have to decide if that's even believable. But again, we're only using 100,000%, which if you go to Wonderland, let's just go to Wonderland, you can see that they're presently paying $87,000, and they've been around for a while and been paying out this successfully and still growing their treasury, which, as you can see, is getting close to $750 million. And that's the one that Templar DAO really respects and believes in, and the Frog Nation and all that. So this is the one that they're putting a big chunk of their treasury into. And the next area they want you to know that has changed is the bond pricing automation through, I guess, an algorithm. So this will constantly rechange the price. As you can see, the price keeps changing as I'm sitting here on the screen. And that means that they can tell exactly what ROI they should be offering. Here's an example of another one where you can see they're clearly not doing that. This is Spartacus. This is the one I told you was having a bit of an issue, and I'm unfortunately still invested in it. I'm hoping they can turn things around. But as you can see, these bonds are crazy overpriced. A minus discount is actually a premium. So they're actually got a DAI bond that's 46% above the regular price, the market price. That just doesn't even make sense. So clearly you can see the value of TEM going with an automated pricing system so that they can say, okay, we're good giving a 19% to 21% discount. So we will just constantly reprice these bonds so that you always have to, 5 minutes from now, the price is not going to be the same as it was 5 minutes ago. That way, the Templar ecosystem doesn't accidentally give away like a 50% discount if the price of the stock or coin goes up, or vice versa, have what's going on with Spartacus, where the price is below what they price the bonds at, which means you're paying too much. You're paying a premium to get a coin, and why would you do that? So there you go. That is another interesting and exciting area that they've automated it through an algorithm that will constantly change the price of the bond, so there isn't these weird numbers that you see on some of these other DAOs. So again, they are going to be a hedge fund with their treasury. They are not going to focus like a lot of other DAOs are on having a whack of stable coins that they're in essence going to just give to Curve Finance or Celsius and make 10% rate of return. If you're going to get the mind-blowing rates of return that we've been seeing, even if you're getting 1/10 of those mind-blowing rates of return, instead of 317 million, if you were getting 1 million, you'd be like, woo! And the only way they can do that is have a treasury that really performs amazingly well, so that the returns from the treasury can then pay you, the stakers. So what they've done is, again, time, but they also want to bridge out into, well, they've got Ohm as well, bridge out into other best-of-breed crypto plays. That could be the new metaverse. That could be more DeFi plays. It could be a lot of things. This is a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization, so they have to put it to a vote. So I'm assuming what they're going to do is they're going to come to the owners of the Temcoin and say, we got to vote. We have a great project that we think would be mind-blowing, great returns, yada, yada. They give you a sales pitch as to why they like that project, and then everybody gets to vote on whether that is the project we want to fund. And that is what a hedge fund is. And just to keep them straight, a VC fund versus a hedge fund. If you saw my last video where I did about Jade, they're planning to be a VC fund or a venture capital fund with their treasury. The difference is a venture capital fund is going after not yet released projects, saying, hey, this person has a great idea. We think it will work. Let's put money behind it so we can launch it with them and then have a lion's share of the ownership, because the idea person didn't have the money to do it, but we do have the money, so we get the majority of the ownership. A hedge fund's different. They're not going to try and find something that hasn't even been released yet. They look for the best of breed, go to those companies or crypto projects and say, hey, I see you've got a roadmap of doing X, Y, and Z. That sounds expensive. Do you want some money? If you do, we will give you money, but we want X number of coins or X number of percent of ownership of this new project. And a lot of times, again, idea people have great ideas that everybody agrees when they hear the idea. It's a mind-blowingly good idea, and then they don't have the money to actually do it. So they have to say, well, maybe we'll do it a year, 2 years, 3 years from now when we have more money. That's when a hedge fund can come along and say, we can get you started tomorrow if you want to sign the dotted line here. So that's really exciting about Templar DAO, that they have plans to take things that are best of breed projects, infuse some money in there, and then get a certain number of coins or ownership. Well, in this case, it's not like a stock, it's a coin. And that coin will then come into the treasury and will earn yield and whatnot. So that is how they plan to grow the treasury in leaps and bounds, and therefore continue to pay out really high rates of return for a long time into the future. And there's two other areas that they haven't really expressed openly in like Medium articles and stuff yet, but I've been speaking to some developers from the team and said, hey, these are some ideas I've heard of. And they said, yes, that's in the work. Two areas that I am excited about other DAOs is the gamification of it. You can explain that either in Rome, that's got gamification, or Jade, where they're saying, look, you stake for one cycle, you move up to level 1, from a 0, and you get a slight increase in your APY. You hold for another cycle, you get another increase. And so like maybe you can get up to a level 4, which will give you the most APY over somebody who's just coming in now. And the incentive then is to keep people staking, because that's what these DAOs want. Get in, stake, stay staked. And by giving you a little perk for the longer you're in, you are leveling people up, and they feel like, oh, I don't want to take any money out because that will push me right back to level 0 again. So no, I'll go find money elsewhere and leave the money I have in Templar in Templar. That is coming. They also are thinking of doing another thing, which is you sometimes will hear of, you see this is staking 3-3. Some projects are starting to do what's called staking 6-6, which means you stake your TEM and you get your sword coin. They will then have a wrap button where you will be able to wrap your sword coin and then stake it again. And then second staking will be a locked-in period. Well, there'll be like a 30% penalty if you get out early, so you'd have to lock in for a week or 2 weeks. Maybe they'll even stagger it, so if you lock in for a week, you get this rate of return, 2 weeks, this rate of return, a month, this rate of return, each higher the longer you lock in. By double staking your already staked wrapped coin, you get extra APY on your original investment. Therefore, some of the returns I've seen from, Metaverse Pro is one that does 6.6. There's a few. The rates of return are like, this is already crazy, as you saw, 300 and something million%. But picture if it was even like 300,000%. But if you went to the next level and went 6.6, all of a sudden now you are making the millions of percent. So it's all about giving you reward for staking longer. And that is what I call gamification of DeFi 2.0, where you keep incentivizing people with higher and higher rewards, maybe special NFTs with utility for being in a certain amount of time and whatnot. This is what I've been talking to the developers about, and they say, yes, these are all ideas they've thought about. It's all about trying to implement it. This is all done with coding, right? It's also a DAO, so you have to get people to agree that this is a good idea. Then they have to change the code and the contract, maybe get it audited again. It's a lot of steps to revamp your DAO like that. But that's stuff they are definitely talking about in the future. So this is why you're seeing a chart like this. Very bullish because there's a lot of good things going on in Templar DAO. And this is why I'm very happy that I'm invested in it, as you already saw from the other screen. So there you go. Hopefully you found this informative and entertaining. If so, show the channel some love by giving it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel to get more of these passive income, staking, yield farming, getting into ohm forks. That's what this channel is all about. Hit the bell notification so you don't miss any future episodes. And until next time, this is Craig signing off, wishing you happiness, health, and wealth in that order. Ciao for now.